Welcome back to the function section. This is on parameters. It says the calculator program should be able to perform a math operation on a number. We should be able to give a calculator a number, have it perform a task on it like multiplication, then print a result. Currently, we have no way to give a function a number. To do this, we can use parameters. Parameters are variables that we can set when we call the function. For example, function multiply by 13 takes in a parameter input number. Console.log input number times 13. Then we have multiply by 13 called here with 9 passed in. So this 9 will take the place of input number and will multiply 9 times 13 and then console log that result. So the output would be 117. And it says 1, we added input number within the parentheses of the multiply by 13 function. Input number is a parameter. This here is a parameter. Inside the multiply by 13 function, we use console.log to print the input number by 13. When we call the multiply by 13 function on the last lines, we set the input number parameter. For instance, multiply by 13 with a parameter 9. Calls the multiply by 13 function and sets input number is 9. Then inside the block of the multiply by 13 function, 9 is multiplied by 13, resulting in 117 printing to the console. Note, on terminology, input number is a parameter, but when we call multiply by 13 with 9 passed in, the 9 is called an argument. Therefore, arguments are provided when you call a function and parameters receive arguments as their value. So input number is a parameter and its value is the argument 9. Since we wrote multiply by 13 with 9 as the argument being passed in to the parameter. Parameters let us write logic inside functions that can be modified based on when we call the function, which will help make our functions more flexible. One says let's include a parameter in the take order function to make the orders we log to the console more descriptive. Inside the parentheses of the take order function, add a parameter named topping. So here we would simply add topping. Let us run this. So right now it's just console logging order pizza. 2, it's telling us now let's include the topping parameter inside the take order function. Modify the console.log to interpolate the topping parameter to print a string like this. Order pizza topped with bacon. So they want us to modify to add order pizza topped with bacon. So by doing this, when we call this function, topped with bacon will be passed into the topping parameter. Topped with bacon is the argument that the topping parameter would take. So if we would want to print this all out, we would add a space here and then plus topping. So this should console log order pizza and also add topped with bacon, which is passed in and added here. So let us run this and see what we get. And we see it worked. And also step 3, at the end of the program, modify the take order function call to include an argument for topping. So that's what we did. We modified the take order function call to include an argument for topping. So we could even change this to topped with, apples. And then when we run this, we call the take order function with topped with apples, passed in as an argument, and replaces topping. And then we would console.log order pizza topped with apples. So if we run this, you guys can see it now changed. So what you need to just take from this lesson is that parameters allow us to pass in arguments to use within the function. That is it for this lesson.